Did you know that NASA has found evidence of running water on Mars? Hi, my name's Cooper and I'm going to be talking to you about Mars today. And this is Project Reach for Tomorrow. So first of all, Mars is the fourth terrestrial planet away from the sun, and it is the last of the terrestrial planets in our solar system, because once you go past Mars, you get into the gas giants, and Pluto really isn't considered a planet anymore. Poor Pluto. But yeah, so Mars is the fourth one. It is our neighbor, and it is red. So why is it red exactly? It's always called the red planet, and we've always wondered why. But the reason is actually because of iron in its soil. It's had large amounts of iron in its soil, and when it reacts with oxygen, it causes a chemical reaction which creates rust. And when that rust happens, we get that brownish reddish color that actually makes the soil red. Now you might be asking, well, if Mars has oxygen, can't we go there and breathe there and live? Sadly, not so much. Mars doesn't have a very thick atmosphere compared to Earth. It's 100 times less dense than Earth's atmosphere. And the only way that we could possibly think about bringing that atmosphere up would be through creating a greenhouse effect or something on it that would build up the atmosphere. But we'll touch on that later in the video. And another thing is Mars's atmosphere is about 95% carbon dioxide. That's not very good for humans, not breathable at all. Another thing that's really cool is Mars is the only other planet in our solar system other than Earth that we know of that has polar ice caps. Of course, they don't have it on the gas giants because they're made of gas, and the other planets are much too close and too hot to really support that. Maybe some of the moons and some of that circling the gas giants might, but that's kind of iffy. But for a terrestrial planet, Mars is the only other one that has polar ice caps. And in that is actually frozen water. Another thing is NASA actually 2 years ago found sources of running water on Mars. That is something that's mind-blowing. They were able to look and they saw riverbeds and different stuff where they've actually seen where water has gone through and carved out different places in the valleys and such. And so that means at one time there was running water, large amounts of running water, and there still is today. They did find evidence of running water today. That's pretty amazing, really. Did you know that Mars is the only planet that we know of that is totally inhabited by robots? That's because through the last 20, 30 years, we've been sending probes and rovers and different stuff like that to Mars, and the latest being the Curiosity rover, which has been there for the last 4 years. Curiosity has only traveled about 10 kilometers. That doesn't seem like a whole heck of a lot. I mean, really, it's not. But think about it. We're controlling a rover from Earth over here, and it's moving over here on Mars. That's quite a distance away. So that is something to be proud of. That's a huge feat, really. That's something that's really, really cool. So another thing, last on our list, I'm going to touch back on possibly terraforming Mars. So if you guys didn't already know, Elon Musk is the CEO of Tesla Motors and the founder of SpaceX. But he actually talked about possibly bombarding Mars's polar ice caps with nuclear thermal bombs, right? Nuclear bombs, and creating a greenhouse effect, because with that, it would release all of the CO2 that is trapped inside the ice caps. And that would go up and that would start to build an atmosphere. You keep doing that, building an atmosphere. And then you could also, if that didn't totally do it, you could send machines there that would start pumping out carbon dioxide as well. That would start to thicken up that atmosphere as it gets hot enough. Because with your atmosphere, it also keeps in the heat, right? Because without it, all the heat is lost into space. It's pretty crazy that we'd have to use nuclear bombs. It would take a lot of bombs, probably the whole amount that we have, all of the quantity that Russia has, the United States, pretty much all of Earth's nuclear bombs would have to be used to make this possible. But it is possible. Now, we don't necessarily need to go the most violent route to actually make it happen, but it's pretty amazing that it is actually possible to do. SpaceX is a company that's actually started to develop reusable rockets, which is something that's pretty cool. It hasn't been done before. And so what he wants to do is actually get humans onto Mars, and he says that we could get 1 million people onto Mars by 2060. That's not very far away. That's only 43 years from now. 1 million people. That's a lot of people. So with his idea, he has a spacecraft. That's very, very, very big because we need a lot of fuel to get to Mars and a shorter amount of time. We want to limit how much time we have to stay in space because it's not great for us. It decays our muscle and our bone structure. But he said that there could be 100 to 200 people per ship, per rocket, and it would be able to land. And so once it gets into Earth's orbit, the boosters, everything like that would be sent back down because it's reusable. It would be able to land on the pad, then be put another pod in to carry humans and everything, and then it would go back up and the cycle would continue and continue and continue. But we could have 1 million people on Mars by 2060. That's something out of a sci-fi movie. Like that's insane that we could have that by then. But the only way we're gonna actually make this stuff possible is if you and me and everyone around us on this planet actually makes it happen. Can't just do it with Elon Musk. He's a billionaire, but we're gonna need a lot more support than just him. That's why I created this channel. It's gonna be about educating you guys. It's gonna be talking about the different subjects, the different possibilities, making this stuff possible, creating a network of people to make this stuff happen. So if you like this kind of stuff and you want to see more informational videos and possibilities and to create a network like this, please like the video and subscribe to it for future ones. And this is the beginning of the journey. Don't forget, humanity's future lies in the stars. And we'll see you next time.